Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Georgiemon and I'm your friendly neighborhood anime and manga fan. I love all things anime and all things manga, and I'm here today to talk about Chainsaw Man chapter 151. So, what did I think about this week's chapter? To be honest, this week's chapter was fantastic. I think it was a great culmination of everything that has been, building up since the entirety of part 2, and we finally get to see pretty much what is it going to take for a man to finally break. And in this week's chapter, we get to see that, where we see Denji finally give in, and he's just like, screw this, and he once again becomes the Chainsaw Man in a glorious fashion, may I add. And I think that the way that Fujimoto was able to, build on every little step that he, up to this point, was phenomenal, to be honest. Now, before I go any further with this week's chapter, I just want to give you guys a quick reminder to make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you guys can be up to date with all my Chainsaw Man, as well as all my anime and manga content that I'll be providing in this channel. It really helps out a lot, and I would really appreciate it if you guys could subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if you guys could, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get into this week's chapter. So this week's chapter starts off where we left off last time, which is pretty much Fumiko being apprehended by the hybrids. And we see that pretty much it's the spear, the whip, and the sword. And we see that they all pretty much have taken, Fumiko as hostage, which... I'm still, waiting to see when Fumiko actually does something. Because, listen, I love Fumiko. I think she's a good character, great character as a matter of fact. But I really want to see what she's capable of. Because I know she's able to dodge, one of Nayuta's chains. So she has some quick reflexes, but I don't know what her contract with any devil is up to this point. So I like to see something a little bit more when it comes to Fumiko. But continuing on, we see that pretty much she's, hostage. And the hybrids are just saying like, yeah, we're gonna kill her, and Denji's like, bro, what are y'all doing? Like, you're crazy. And then the sword hybrid, like, listen, I'm almost sick of this guy at this point. He has so many chances, but it's also a theme of the story where being brainwashed, and he's in a sense kind of like Denji in part 1, where Denji just kept believing Makima no matter what. That's similar to what's happening with Sword Hybrid. I think that's a nice parallel between these two, because they're both like teenagers and they're both pretty dumb in their own regards. So they're easy to manipulate. And as much as it's frustrating to see, the Sword Hybrid just do these terrific things, at the end of the day, you guys gotta remember, he got controlled by Makima, and ever since then, his mind has been pretty much a mess. And we see that pretty much he just tries to explain the whole situation to Denji, like, oh no, it's acceptable. We have to kill your dogs, we have to burn your home down because it's all part of the justice. We're gonna stop the prophecy of Nostradamus. And even the whip hybrid is like, is this guy for real? He actually believes all this? And like, throughout it all, I'm just thinking to the back of my mind, like, come on, man, like, snap out of it. Like you seem like a really nice guy. Like, come on, man. Really nice guy in the sense that he just seems to be taken advantage of, and that's one of the themes in Chainsaw Man all the time, which is pretty much manipulation, especially in part 1, where being led on. And I think that the sword hybrid really is a great manifestation of what Denji used to be in part 1. So as much as it's annoying to see, it's great writing at the end of the day. So continuing from that, we see that as they're explaining, like, yeah, like the sword hybrid's like, yeah, we had to do that. We see Nayuta just like completely snap, and she looks at Barim, and Barim is all beat up and bloodied up because of the guns that were fired at him in the last chapter with Fumiko and the public safety. And the reason that the hybrids were even able to escape is because I guess the public safety, there's a lot of ruckus, so they managed to escape that way, from what we were explained. So we see pretty much, Barim's trying to get up, and as soon as he even tries to get up, Narita's pissed off. She just goes like, no, get down. Like, she uses her chain attack of control, uses it on Barim, and then she orders Barim, like, bite your tongue off and die. And then you see Barim start getting up, and he just proceeds to choke Nayuta. And he seems unfazed by it. And it's explained to us is that the reason it's now working on Barim is because apparently the effects of the control devil already took place on him, where Makima already used his control over him. So he only is able to be controlled by Makima or so. That was my understanding. So it seems like Nayuta's attacks will not be effective towards the hybrids. So I think that's a little bit of more tension now, because now it's like, okay, definitely Nayuta cannot do anything against them. And we see pretty much, he proceeds to start choking Nayuta, and he's saying like, you're like, if Makima was here, she would have been able to just, we would have won. Like, peace would have been achieved. All the hybrids would have been and herself would have been able to, take down Nostradamus and the Death Temple. That was her game plan. And you guys sucked. Like, you guys threw it all away. Like, you guys are clowns. Like, why would you not want, why wouldn't you want that? And as soon as, he's explaining all this to Nayuta is like, enough of this. And she controls one of one of the public safety that are already dead in the floor or wounded or whatever. And she controls him to shoot at Barim, shoots him in the head. And, Barim lets go. And as all of this has happened, like, you see Denji just kind of like, start, like freaking out. And we see that eventually we see a cutaway scene where it's a flashback, or it's in his inner psyche. You see Denji looking at the fire, and you see Pochita, and Pochita like smiling at Denji, and Denji as a little kid, like when he first met Pochita, and just like putting a peace sign and smiling back. And as all that is happening, we see that we cut back to the present time, and you see Denji just start laughing. And I think that the symbolism of that scene was pretty much Pochita, like Denji looking back at his ideal dream of being just having a simple life, just being happy with Pochita. Like I think it was something that he was never gonna be able to achieve. So I think that's the reason he was laughing. I could be wrong. I think he was just laughing at the fact that like he understands what he has to be, the current Denji, what he has to do, and that is become Chainsaw Man. Because as he's laughing, it's like, why are you laughing? He proceeds to rip his shirt off, and he pulls the string and becomes Chainsaw Man once again. As you see this flame dividing the two main forces of the hybrids, taking Fumiko under hostage, and Denji and Nayuta, and you see this flame between them, and that's how the chapter ends. And I think, like I said, I think it was a great way to symbolize Denji finally understands his place in the universe. And, as deep as I'm trying to sound with this, but I really do believe that he finally, has found what he's meant to be. Like, what's his purpose in life? Because that's the thing that we always, even in part 2, what's Denji's dream? Like, yes, he obtained a simple life, but what is there after that? And I think that, now he's really understanding, like, yeah, I know my purpose. I have to be Chainsaw Man. That's something that I cannot, be without. And it's something that he had been struggling, because it's kind of like that situation where, like, without Chainsaw Man, what am I? And you already saw that, Denji has already struggled with that in part 2. And I think that the fact that, he had to embrace the Chainsaw Man once again, because he knows that nobody else can save the people he loved but himself. So he has to take that risk. And I think that, going forward, we're going to see huge consequences of what him coming back as Chainsaw Man. What consequences would those be? I still don't know. We know that the public safety, right now they're in a chaos. So I think that the whole thing of, keeping Nayuta safe, or, not killing her, I think that's out the window, because you can't even trust nobody right now. As a matter of fact, I don't even know where Yoshida is right now. And if I had to guess, probably he will show up and help Denji. I'm still crossing my fingers that in an off-screen panel, he saved the dog and the dogs and the cat, but it's very unlikely. But if, for a matter of fact, if Yoshida by any chance was able to save the dogs and the cat, he'd become goated. He'll be the best character in part 2. All the Yoshida haters, they'll step aside. They'll be like, okay, he's the goat. But I'm really curious to see where this takes us from now, because now it seems like we're gonna have a huge confrontation where Denji has to fight 4 hybrids. And I'm wondering now, is Pochita's, is inner Pochita, like the black Chainsaw Man, gonna show up and just wreck shop again? Will he be able to control it? Will he be able to, would it run loose again? Or is Denji just by himself? Is he that strong now that he can just wipe the floor with these 4? Or maybe, who knows, the War Devil will show up and help Denji, or Yoshida, because it seems like Nayuta right now, she's not able to be useful at the moment. Or, who knows, maybe Fumiko can finally show her feats. She can finally, show what she's made out of. She can finally, show her devil contracts, why she's part of public safety, and this big powerful squad with Quan Chi and Katana Man and all of them. Or maybe Katana Man, hear me out, Katana Man shows up and helps Denji out. Insane. That'd be insane. That'd be like the most poetic justice ever. But with all that being said, what did you guys think about this week's chapter? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys thought it was alright? What did you guys thought? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Chainsaw Man, as well as more anime and manga content in the near future. But yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.